Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. So, you're planning a trip to the Republic of Georgia's famously beautiful wine country, right? Eventually, you're going to find yourself staring at a map of the Alazani Valley, trying to figure out the absolute best place to set up your base camp. Well, look no further. Today, we're exploring a spot that isn't just a convenient gateway for wine tasting, it's a deeply historic, completely lived-in city that actually served as the capital of the Kingdom of Kakheti. We are talking about Telavi. This is a place where ancient Bronze Age roots literally bump into 17th century royal palaces, and monumental history is just woven right into the everyday fabric of the city.
Now, if you've been following our journey, you might remember we previously visited the famously picturesque City of Love, Sighnaghi. And hey, Sighnaghi is undeniably gorgeous for sure, but it's developed almost entirely around day trip tourism. Telavi, on the flip side, offers a really fascinating contrast. It's the true beating historical heart of the region. It has a much more authentic local vibe. Think of it as having the quiet, walkable feel of a big village, but with a lively undercover bazaar, much better transport connections, and this stunning, authentic Kakhetian architecture. I mean, the ornate carved wooden balconies alone are worth the trip. When you want to truly anchor yourself in the history of Eastern Georgia, Telavi is where you go.
To help us wrap our heads around the sheer density of history here, we've put together a quick virtual itinerary. First up, we'll look at the City of Seven Hills. Then, Georgia's last royal palace. After that, giant trees and valley views. Fourth, the treasures of the surrounds. And finally, discover Kakheti's historical heart. Section 1, City of Seven Hills. So, Telavi isn't just a flat, sprawling settlement. Its unique topography is actually spread out across 7 historical hills. We've got Zuzumbo, Dabakhnebi, Kadori, Gvtaeba, Batonis Tsikhe, Fiqri, and Gigos Gora. What makes this so cool is that almost every single one of these elevations harbors its own distinct piece of Georgian history. Take Dabakhnebi Hill, for instance. That's where the city's craft industry is completely thrived, and you can still find the remains of old artisans' houses and workshops right there today. Over on Kadori Hill, you'll find the ruins of a fortress wall dating all the way back to the 11th century, built by the Kakhetian King Erekle III. The city is literally layered over these hills, giving you this cascading landscape of pure history. Section 2, Georgia's last royal palace. Let's move to the center and see how this builds, charting the evolution of Batonis Tsikhe, which roughly translates to the Master's Fortress or Prince's Fortress. Now, here is absolutely crucial context. While other royal palaces in places like Tbilisi were completely leveled by invasions in the late 1700s, Batonis Tsikhe survived. It is literally the only surviving royal palace in Georgia. The modern citadel's story really kicks into gear in the 1660s when King Archil moved his royal residence here from Gremi. But it was during the 1740s and 50s that the legendary King Erekle II, affectionately known as the Little Caucasian, vastly expanded the complex. He turned it into this massive diplomatic and cultural hub, entirely surrounded by these imposing 5-meter-high cobblestone walls. Later on, in 1801, the Russian Empire annexed the kingdom and turned the whole thing into military barracks. That definitely altered it, but thankfully the core structure was left completely intact. What's truly astonishing here is the deeply personal connection this space has to Georgia's most famous monarch. Get this, King Erekle II was born in this very palace in 1720, and he died in the exact same room in 1798. How wild is that? Today, you can actually walk through this one-story brick palace, which is a brilliant fusion of traditional Georgian building techniques and Persianate architectural styles. It was specifically designed to handle the warm, dry Kakheti climate. We're talking incredibly high ceilings, cool tiled floors, and these deep, open wooden verandas where the royal family would sit and gaze out over the inner courtyard. It is a beautifully preserved snapshot of the late medieval Georgian royal court.
Section 3, Giant Trees and Valley Views.
900. That number represents one of the most beloved and honestly mind-blowing monuments in the entire city. Just outside the western gates of the fortress stands Telavi's giant plane tree. And yes, it is an incredible 900 years old. To put that monumental scale into perspective, this living giant is over 40 meters tall, and its trunk has a circumference of roughly 12 meters. It's widely considered the oldest living tree in the country. Just imagine, for centuries, Georgian poets, writers, and kings have literally made pilgrimages just to stand in its massive shadow. It has silently watched the rise, the fall, and the restoration of the royal palace right across the street. Honestly, you haven't really visited Telavi until you've posed for a photo standing inside the hollow of its massive trunk. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer geographic beauty of the city. If you take a hike up the southeastern side to Nadikvari Park, you're in for a treat. Sure, it has nice walking paths, fountains, and leafy trees, but the real reason you come up here is the sheer scale. From the viewing platforms at Nadikvari, the entire Alazani Valley just opens up below you, rolling out toward the horizon where it abruptly meets the towering, snow-capped peaks of the Greater Caucasus Mountains. It provides this breathtaking, panoramic macro view of the entire region you're about to explore. Section 4. Treasures of the Surrounds. So if day 1 is all about exploring the fortress, the bazaar, and the heritage streets of the city center, day 2 is when you venture out into the Alazani Valley. The concentration of monumental heritage waiting just outside the city limits is frankly staggering. It proves why Tel Aviv is the ultimate base camp. A highly recommended route involves 3 major stops: the Tsinandali Estate, the Alaverdi Monastery, and the Ikalto Academy. Now, what's really interesting about these surrounding highlights is the immense historical weight each of these spots carries. First up, the Tsinandali Estate. This was the 19th century home of Prince Alexander Shavchavadze, and it's famous because it was right here that Kakheti wine was first bottled in the European style. You can actually descend into his underground enoteca, which is a historic wine cellar, and see bottles completely kicked in dust that date all the way back to 1841. Next, you've got the Alaverdi Monastery, about 40 minutes away. Looming over the valley, this 11th century cathedral is just visually stunning, and it happens to be the second tallest religious building in all of Georgia. Finally, there's the Ikalto Academy. Founded way back in the 6th century, its grounds are scattered with those massive moss-covered clay wine vessels known as Fiqri. But its true claim to fame? Its 12th century academy ruins, where Georgia's legendary national poet, Shota Rustaveli, is said to have studied theology, geometry, and of course, winemaking. But to fully appreciate massive sites like Alaverdi and Ikalto, you really need to understand their spiritual roots. Both of these were originally founded by members of the Assyrian Fathers. Now, who were they? Well, they were a group of 13 monks who arrived in Georgia back in the 6th century, and they played a pivotal, absolutely massive role in spreading Orthodox Christianity throughout the region. They essentially mapped out the sacred geography of Kakheti, establishing these monastic centers that would eventually grow into the towering cathedrals and vital academies we've just been talking about. It's this incredible continuity of history stretching from the 6th century straight through to today.
Section 5. Discover Kakheti's historical heart.
As we've seen, Telavi is so much more than just a quick pit stop on a wine tour. It's a profoundly lived-in city where 900-year-old trees cast their shade over 17th century royal courts. It's a place where the deep, complex history of Georgia is etched into every single carved wooden balcony and cobblestone wall. So what does this all mean for your trip? The real question is, are you ready to make Telavi the historical base camp for your Kakheti adventure? If this explainer helped you chart your course through Georgia's beautiful wine region, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the Discover Georgia channel for more deep dives into this amazing country. Thanks so much for learning with us today, and we'll see you in the next one.